Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Inkwell Remix. Wilds Unknown is here, and if you're anything like me, you're very excited because we've got not one, but 4 new movie decks that we can play with this set out. So today I'm going to do a quick run through of the whole Wilds Unknown set, look briefly at the 4 new movies, and pick out a few other cards I think are going to be important in their movie decks and in Poorcana. We are starting with the deck I'm most excited about, which is the Madrigals. Strictly speaking, they're not a new movie deck, of course. They've been released twice before, but we've got a total of 23 new cards this set, which is enough for a whole deck by itself. I'm really looking forward to making a much longer video about the Madrigals using all 3 sets, but for now, apart from all the cards you can see here, I'm just going to pick out a few of the most important ones. Alma Madrigal Head of the Family is going to be a good one, I think. A good way of moving damage from your cards to your opponents. Pepper is going to be critical because she's your card draw engine, which every deck needs. Louisa, Confident Climber, of course, is going to be massive. She was picked out right at the start as being a really powerful legendary, and she's going to be extremely strong. Bruno, Oasis Oracle, heals your character completely and lets you develop your brain every time you heal a character. Very powerful. Juliet as a Reppers, a very useful, reliable form of healing every turn, which in this Madrigal's deck, which spreads damage around and then removes it for benefit, is going to be important. And finally, Casa Madrigal finally gets a good location. This one is really good. You heal a character and you can heal Casa Madrigal as well whenever a character quests here. So I'm really looking forward to the Madrigals, and if you are too, I'd recommend keeping your eye out for these particular cards, trade for them, hope you open in your packs, whatever it takes. Now, moving on to our next deck, which I think was the one most people were excited for, it is, of course, Toy Story. And there are a huge number of Toy Story cards, 27 of them, in fact. So that's nearly 2 whole decks worth. As we can see, Amber, Emerald, and Ruby, and the big sub-theme here are cards with the toy subtype. Again, loads of exciting cards. A few of the key ones that I would pick out particularly after playing in the pre-release this weekend and just looking at the cards generally. We've got Bullseye, who is a really well-statted character, potentially drops for 2 ink, very useful. Then Jessie, Buzz, Woody, all very much leaning into this toy theme. So we've got toys as our main theme and a sub-theme of playing very cheap cards. When you play for 2 or less, do things. Jessie and Buzz both do that. Woody tutors his way through the top few cards of your deck to try and find toys. Then we've got Babyhead, who draws cards whenever your characters are banished. Sid, who can banish your characters for benefit and force your opponent to banish characters, and perhaps most importantly, Woody Jungle Guide. He's the set championships card for this set, so if you're into Toy Story, do a set champs or 2, it'll be well worth it. And he's ridiculously good, drawing cards and playing characters for free whenever you quest. He is going to be a standout card in this set. And then finally, the ever so characterful You've Got a Friend in Me. Much like Woody, Leader of the Toys, it lets you tutor your way through the top 4 cards of your deck to find toy cards. So again, I'll do this in more detail in another video, but we can see Toy Story very much about playing lots of cheap characters and overwhelming your opponent in value. Then we have Brave, which I was very excited to see. This one's Amethyst, Emerald, and Steel, and of course focuses around Merida and her extended family. We've got 26 cards in this one, so again, nearly 2 whole decks, and conveniently spread into 3 colours, which is exactly what we want for our movie deck. Particular cards to look out for from Brave include a common 2/3 Merida because she's got Ward and is a wonderful shift target for Merida Gifted Archer, the 5-drop in the middle you can see there. There's a theme going on, particularly with Merida herself, about doing lots of damage to people, particularly involving challenges. So Brave, I think, is going to be a very good deck for people who want to quest a lot and still be able to punish their opponents when the challenges come in. Other notable cards, we've got Wee Dingwall, who is a really good card in limited formats because 3/4 for 3, always strong, and Challenger +2, hitting for 5, really useful. He's going to be a Poorcana staple, I think. We've got 3 Arrows, just about the only removal card in Wilds Unknown, so another really good sealed card. And finally, we have Eleanor, Renowned Diplomat. who I think has a really interesting effect. At the end of your turn, if you have 3 or more exerted characters in play, deal 1 damage to chosen opposing character, gain 1 lore, and draw a card. So she really makes questing out quite valuable. For damage, lore, and cards, she's going to be a very strong one. Definitely worth looking out for. And then our last movie deck is, of course, The Incredibles, bringing in the superheroes. Another 3-color movie deck. It's wonderful how they're printing things in exactly 3 colors for us. We've got ruby, steel, and sapphire in this particular case. Now, the Incredibles have some wonderful synergy. They're really using the hero keyword and the super keyword. So a lot of their stuff really revolves around this. And a few standout cards. We've got Edna Mode, who is an ally herself and an inventor, but she has some really good buff effects for your heroes. We've got Jack Jack, who is chaos incarnate, as he should be. At some point, you're going to flip a location off top of your deck, and it's just going to be the most wonderful thing. I'm particularly impressed by Dash, actually, because one character being able to impersonate not only Merlin Goat, but also Maui Demigod, that's pretty good for a 10-year-old. So Dash, both cards I think are going to be very powerful in the coming sets. Mr. Incredible and Mrs. Incredible, as they should be, legendary cards, extremely powerful. And the combo effect of those two is going to be absolutely insane if you can get them out at the same time. And then finally, we've got Syndrome out for revenge. He's the big villain, of course, and there's a decent sub-theme in this movie deck of robots and villains. And if you're going to do that, you absolutely want to have Syndrome in play, bringing back all of your Omni droids. So there we go, a quick whiz through our 4 main movie decks. Now, there is one more movie that's got some really good representation in Wilds Unknown, and that is, of course, Snow White. Because we've got our 3rd round of the 7 dwarves. I will have to do a video about them soon, try and merge all 3 sets together. But in the meantime, we also have a new prince, the huntsman, and most importantly in my mind, 2 new versions of the queen, who will go wonderfully in my fully queens movie deck. But as we can see, lots of new 7 dwarves and some really good enabling cards. Snow White herself, merry as the morning, is very potent and very designed to be with the 7 dwarves, as are the 2 new actions, right behind you and don't be nervous. All about having 7 dwarves and princesses in play at the same time. Very thematic. I look forward to building them in the future. Here is just a quick selection of a few other standout cards from the new set. They're not whole movies by themselves, but they'll add a lot to their movie decks. We've got a new 1-drop Robin Hood, who's going to be slot nicely into his deck, giving us another shift target for Robin Hood, Champion of Sherwood. We've got John Smith and Pocahontas, who are adding crucial versatility into the Pocahontas movie deck, because you've now actually got some cards you can take out, which will be valuable. The Hercules is quite interesting to me. He's cheap, he's uninkable, but he's going to give you a certain amount of card advantage, and that's something that the Hercules deck has always lacked, if you're playing the hero version at least. We've got Diablo, Stony Servant, who I'm really curious about. I've never tried playing a Villain's Sleeping Beauty deck, but now that this Diablo is out, I think I'm going to have to try it. It will be interesting. We've got Todd Nimble Fox, who again just adds some versatility to the Fox and the Hound deck, and honestly, a really strong card. He's going to be well worth playing. And then finally, we have Kida and the Leviathan, who are really adding that big top-end punch to the Atlantis deck. Finally, a few of the key cards for Poorcana. I've mentioned Bullseye and Todd before. Wee Dingwall, I think, is one of the strongest cards just because he's so well statted for his cost. Woody, Leader of Toys, might be very good, might not be. It depends how feasible toys are in Poorcana, but if they can work in Poorcana, he's going to be crucial. A couple of other particularly important ones. I think Card Advantage is amazing. Giving Steel an ability to draw cards at uncommon in particular is going to be really good. Firefly Swarm is a very nice removal spell. Useful in its first mode, extremely good in its second, so I think Ruby will be very glad to have that. And then we've got some really nicely statted high power characters like Bashful and Pegasus, both big bodies with evasive, who will be worth a lot in future Poorcana games. Well, everyone, I hope you enjoyed this quick run through. what we've seen so far in Wilds Unknown. I'm looking forward to doing some longer videos on each of the movie decks. So until next time, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again for another Inkwell Remix.